Hi, I'm Jeff Keir. I'm one of the owners of PlanningPod.com. PlanningPod is online software for small businesses to help them better manage their people, their projects, and their small business details. And today we're here with another episode of Hump Day Brain Dump, when we provide tips and techniques for entrepreneurs and small business owners. So I'm feeling a little bit saucy today, so I want to talk about a very saucy topic, which is client relationships, and creating more fulfilling client relationships, deeper client relationships, getting to know your clients better, and allowing them to get to know you better too. Now, some of this may sound like dating advice. In fact, a lot of it might sound like dating advice, but nurturing client relationships is a lot like dating. First of all, you want to look your best. You want to come off your best, but you also want to come off as yourself. You want to be yourself with your clients. Another way it's like dating is that you both want something out of the relationship. You, of course, want to be compensated somehow, but more so your client wants, great service, great support, a great product. So it's a little bit like dating. So here are about 5 tips, and these things are fairly small, but they're very powerful in helping you embed yourself more in a client and getting to know them better and getting closer. First thing is always set deadlines and budgets up front. And this has to do with setting expectations. When I'm talking with a client and we're talking about a new project, the last 2 questions I ask are, so when do you want this stuff? When does it all due? And what kind of budget do I have to work within on this? And 99% of the time they'll say, okay, well, I've got a budget of $3,000 or $10,000 or $20,000, or and I need it in 3 weeks. Now, sometimes a client may not give you either. They may say, deliver it to me whenever, and I trust you guys on budget, no worries. But in their head, they may be thinking, all right, well, these guys will get it to me in 3 weeks, and it'll probably come in around $4,000. But in my head, I may be thinking, it's going to take maybe a couple months to get that done, and it's probably going to take about 15 grand. You don't want all that to happen and come down and find that you're mentally in disagreement with each other 2 months down the road or a month down the road. So set all that stuff up front, saves a lot of time and aggravation. Another thing you should do is ask your client for a favor once in a while. Sounds a little bit odd, but here's why. Say, and make it a small favor. Make it something like, I've got this project that's due two and a half weeks out, but I was wondering if I can have an extra day or two because I have some great ideas and I want to put the right polish and sort of the right gloss on this. And they'll usually be like, no problem, extra day or two, that's fine. The reason for this is it gets your clients in the mood of being flexible and cooperating and having a collaborative back and forth relationship, which really helps in a healthier relationship with a client. Another thing you should be doing is you should be complimenting them occasionally. This is very dating. This is a very dating thing. But it's got to be sincere. So if they're wearing a really nasty pinstripe jumpsuit, you don't have to compliment on that if you just don't think it's really that great. But if they've got a great idea in a meeting, you should say, hey, that's an awesome idea. That we need to run with that. Or if you like their shoes, those are fantastic shoes. I wish I had a pair of those things. Flattery, oddly, does get you somewhere. So be complimentary. Be open about it. Another thing I like to do is when I'm on the phone with a client or when I'm in a meeting, I try to listen like 90 to 95% of the time. Right now I'm babbling, but in a meeting, I try to shut up because what's most important is, first of all, the client needs to say what they need to say. They need to talk about their issues, their needs, and what they're looking for. They're looking for your help. And if you have the inclination to jump in or try and answer something right away, hold off on it. Just let the client talk, because as they talk and talk and talk, and that's a good thing, talking, they will you'll start to hear snippets or pieces of sentences or ideas that really can start to grow in your head and become sort of the focal point of the project. So let them talk, When they're finished talking, that's when you can say your piece. That's when you can come up with your brilliant, genius answers, because I know you got them. And the client will feel heard. And that's very important. Another thing you could do, this is a really good one, is lunch meetings are always a great idea. Here's why. A lot of social psychology research has gone into persuasion and influence and things like that. And one thing that researchers have found is that people are much more awake, they're much more positive, they're much more willing to engage, they're much more amenable if they have a full belly. And so having meetings, having lunch meetings, having meetings with a snack is always a great idea. It opens people up. It makes them feel good. And that really, positive things come from that. Another, and this is the last idea I've got for you today, is be generous with your clients, especially when it comes to like picking up a lunch or a dinner or taking them out for drinks. First of all, this is just good business. Treating your clients well, pampering them, making sure that they feel needed and wanted. That's important. Everybody needs that. But it's really important in client relationships too. But another thing that works in your favor is that when you're generous with your time and your money, clients feel good about that. And they feel like, I'd like to reciprocate that because this person has shown me how much they really enjoy working with me. And so they feel more inclined to reciprocate, which might mean more business for you, which is win-win for everybody. So there's our tips for this week. That's our Hump Day Brain Dump. I'm Jeff Keir. I'm with Planning Pod. You have a great rest of the week, and we'll talk to you next week. Thanks a lot.